Alright, so I've just opened up my digitizer program, which is very, very similar to Hatch 2. And I'm going to, this is what I wanted to show a good friend of mine, Deborah, that in my program I have up here got a switch to graphics mode. Now, I subsequently to our conversation have realised that if you do buy Hatch 2, and unfortunately this particular program that I own is no longer available from Genome, okay? But but what I found out was that you need to buy or download CorelDRAW SE to be able to enable this within Hatch, whereas it all came as one package to me with the digitizer, Genome digitizer 5.5. Okay, but anyway, so I will go over now to graphics mode. Takes a little while, you know. This is a very complex program, and my computer, beautiful as it is not as quick as something I must have had this 7 or 8 years, so it's not your latest technology, but it's really good. It is i5 or i7 technology. It's a touch screen, it's HP, it's very, very good, but this is a heavy use program. Plus, obviously at the moment I'm running other programs like my video that is recording my on-screen, which again is quite a complex program, so I'm kind of pushing it to its limits. So although this is real time, I am going to have to wait for it to switch from one mode to the other. Right, so now it's switched to CorelDRAW, which is within my program. I can get rid of this hints bit because I never use that anyway. Okay, so now you can see Nope, still not ready. Now it's ready. I just move up so I can see the top of what would be an A4 page. This is the way that I've got to set it up. Now, then from my files, I'll import. Can't just open, import. And I'll go to, where did I think I put it under here. Let me just see, 2021, because that's what I would have done. Come down, I know I made a file, Sunbonnet Sue, right? I've got a couple of designs, but I'm going to open this PDF, which I know that when you scan the PDF, it is 100% size. Text curves, I'll import it as curves. I'm not worried about the rest of it. Okie doke. And hit enter, so it will be on my A4 page. Now, I just made that tiny, but can you see that that is made and imported on my A4 page. Now the next thing I will go is over to crop, because I don't want the word in. So I will then take my crop tool, which is within CorelDRAW but is part of my program. You see, now I have encapsulated all the bits I want, because I don't want the wording or anything else. This is out of a colouring book apparently, so that's all I want. So I've cropped it, so got rid of everything else. Once I've done that, I will go up to Bitmaps, convert to Bitmap. Blah, 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 I don't care. Okay, right? And now it's a bitmap. Now I can press up here. Can you see, Deborah? I've got my digitizer switched back to embroidery mode. I'm going to click, and again, this may take a little while because it's an encompassing program. Oh, actually it didn't take that long, did it? So the next thing I'm going to do on my keyboard, because you can see she's right off to the right, that's no good to me, so I am going to hit 0, bring her 100% in view of my screen, but if you notice up here, it's 71% scale, but that is just so that I can see all of it within my screen. As we discussed, I'll come over to layout, I'll come down to auto center to work area, and then hit enter. Now, oh, she moves slightly, but not a lot, right? But that means it is definitely auto centered to my workspace. So if I put a hoop on, this picture, the size that she is auto-centered to my workspace area. Then, as I said to you, in the resequence bar here, there's my object, my artwork, and I can click on that, and you see the little lines come up around her. Right click on it and come down and say lock. Now you see this little padlock that comes up against the picture that can no longer move. Whatever I do, that is stuck now as if it's glued to the computer screen and cannot move. If I accidentally click it and want to move it, I can't. It's locked. Now, what do we actually want to do with it? Well, we want to do applique work. And I'm looking at it from my point of view. The very first things that need to go down are the leg and the hand, because everything else is laid on top. So that is the very first thing that I want to do, is the leg and the hand. So first off, I'll go over here and click. Can you see I'm over here now? And click applique. Digitize applique. I don't know what colour I want to do this, but I'm going to pick a flesh tone. Yeah? Number 26. It's a flesh tone. And that's what I'm going to do it. Again, that can always be changed, but this is what I'm deciding for the moment. So I'm going to start, and I am using my mouse wheel now to bring this up nice and big for me so that I can see it very clearly. And what am I on now? 217 zoom scale. That's perfectly acceptable. I'm on digitize applique. I'll look over here to my object properties over here, right? And I am saying pre-cut, because I will cut this on my digitized cutting machine. Tack, no, I don't want any tack, none. Cover, no, I don't want satin. I will use blanket stitch, and I know that I want that to be about 120. So I'm just going to change that. And I know, actually, I want this to be about 80. So, 080. That's what I want it to be. I've got my colour set down here. There's my colour set down there. Again, this all can be changed. So, using the right button as a harsh change, the left click as a curve, I'll start here. Right click, left click, left click, left click, right click, because I've got a harsh change now, left click, right click, because that's a bit of a corner there. Yeah. Now, if you make a mistake like that, you can use your back arrow on your keyboard to say, no, go back to where you were. Continue. Left and clicking, left and clicking, left and clicking, left and clicking, and eventually to close up the shape, you hit enter. So you can see now how I have just, and up comes here on the resequencing bar, comes up, that symbol means that that's an applique, and that is the applique. Now, if I come off a true view, so now you're seeing the stitches, yeah? Not true view, you can see that the stitches are these little lines, but beneath the whole thing is a solid line, which is what we would use as the cutout part when we take it into another piece of software to cut out on the scan and cut. In other words, we can make this into an SVG file that you can cut out on your scan and cut, or your Cricut, or your what have I got? I can't remember now. Cameo, yeah. So that's that. But I am gonna whiz back out. Don't worry about this line. This is just well, that's the center, so you went from there to there to start, yeah. So now I just brought it back into focus. And the next thing I want to do in exactly the same colour, so I'm just going to get it where I want it, and I'll start here, right click, left 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 click, right click, harsh change, and if that is indeed as it looks to me as it is, I can just press enter and those will join up. Let's go back to true view so you can see the stitches of what I've just done. Now, so I've got one shape over here on resequence. I've got one shape that is the leg, and I got one shape that is the mitt. Both of them are reporting as applique shapes. Let's come back out. Well, I'll press naught, so she's back centralized, so I know where we are. So I've done that and I've done that. I'm looking at this, and the next thing in my mind that needs to go down is the dress. Now, obviously, you can pick any colour you like, but I think that she deserves a nice blue dress. So I've just changed the colour down here to blue. I'm still on digitized applique, and my settings are all still the same. So now I can bring her up nice and big. So the bigger it is, the easier it is. Right click, left 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 click, right click, left click, left click, left click, left click, right click, left click, right click, because this is a very straight line. Right click. Now I'm on a curve. Left click, 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 left click. Didn't I start here? Hit enter. Right, let's come back out. So now you see, I have just given her, well, blue stitching around her dress. That's the third object down. Okay. Yeah. So now what do we do? Well, I would say the next objects will be the hat, because that's on top of the dress. So I'm going to say, oh, she's going to have a yellow hat. So I've changed it to yellow, still on digitized applique, still on the settings that I've made. Bring it in nice and tight. Right click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click. Now that's gone a bit off my cut line as far as I'm concerned. So I've come back a few nodules, paying more attention that I am staying on that line. Left clicking all the way till I get to the top, right click, left click, left click, left click. These are all left clicks, until I get to a corner. Right click. Left click around the curve. Right click on the corners. And that's where I started, so I can press enter. So now I'll zoom out. So now you can see I've given her a yellow hat, and there's the yellow applique, yeah? But if we just buzz into that a moment and take off the true view, I'm hoping you can see that without the true view, you can see that you've got a pink line all the way around, and you've got these yellow lines which are going to be the stitches. But that pink line is going to sew first to give you a placement line, and that pink line is what we will use to cut out the shape. So I'm going to put true view back on, and you can see that as well, yeah? So let's come out. So now I've done all that. So the last thing, I guess, I will do is her arm. Now, well, should it be pink? Should it be blue? Should it be green? What should it be? Well, I'm going to say it's going to be a nice green. So change the colour, still in digitized applique, and I'm going to start here, right click, left, 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 and enter to hit. So now I've done a little arm in dark green. I am now going to go up and save this. Someone that's doing design one, but no, I'm going to just call it Sue 1. Okay, it's an EMB file, a master file, so I'm just going to save it. Okay, so that's Sue 1 as far as I'm concerned. So far, not finished by a long chalk. That's the basics of getting down the applique. Now, I have shown you my preferred method, but however, at any stage within your design program, your Hatch 2 or whatever, you can change anything you like. So, for example, I'm going over here to resequence, so it shows me the order in which things are being sewn, and I'm going to click on the leg, which, as you can see now on my screen, as highlighted that element. And over here I can change this to the cover stitch. Now, my preference when I'm appliquing something is blanket stitch, but I can change that to satin stitch. I can look at it and say, well, it's a 1/16 of an inch wide, not good. So let's take that. Well, no, sorry, the stitch spacing between each individual stitch is a 1/16 wide. And I can say, well, width of it then, I want it 0.8 of an inch. It doesn't give you a lot of scope, does it? So maybe I'll take that up to 1/10 of an inch. So I'm making it, as I'm clicking this, on the picture itself, it's getting wider, so maybe 0.15 of an inch. So can you see now that's made that cover stitch satin? Alright, so at any time you can pick an element and change the cover stitch. Some people like satin stitch, some people really like it. I don't, but that's personal preference. You may think, well, that's bloody marvellous. I don't. So I'm just going to undo, 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 undo until I get it back to what it was, right? Because that's my preference. So you can change things like that. The next thing we need to consider now, because we've just done all the applique, but what we haven't done is any of the stitching. Now, you may think, well, this is enough to hold down the applique fabric, but if we look at the details, getting nice and close, you will see that they have done a running stitch around the edge as a design detail. That's not a problem. If you wish to do that, what we do is we come over here and we go to digitize. We go, it's going to be a closed shape because they're all going to meet up. So we will digitize closed shape, but instead of it, I'm up here now, instead of it being a fill, it will be an outline, and it over here now, I'm over here now, over here now, over here on the right, it could be a single line, a triple run, a sculpture run, a back stitch, a stem stitch. It can be anything you want it to be. Well, I'm just going to leave it on single stitch for a moment, back out of my program and say, well, what do we need to do first? Well, what we need to do first is the pieces we put down first, because we want to keep the colours running in true order as well. Okay. So, in this particular one, because it's being, it's underneath, that blue fabric is over the top of my flesh leg, so I will digitize open shape, single run again, choose, choose the colour that I wanted, so that's down here highlighted, yeah, and then I will just digitize, right click, left click, left click, left click, left click, it will follow, left click, left click, so it's writing itself behind me, left click, left click, left click, right click because that's an end, and press enter. Now it's done that stitch line all around, and there it is. But this is why I say to you about sequencing. We don't want to keep swapping colours, so we highlight that bit and move it up to underneath the original placement, the original applique. So when it's done, it'll do the placement line, you'll iron down your applique, then it'll do the cover stitch, a blanket stitch, or whatever stitch you've decided on. Then it will, because it's the same colour, it will not stop, it will continue and do the single run line as your embroidery over the top, because I've just now moved it up to be the next in sequence after that applique. So let's come out of that and go to the next shape. Again, we're using the same colour, so all I need to do is I'm using my wheel on my mouse to bring it up nice and close to me, yeah. Again, I want it to be open shape because it's not gonna, I only want it to start here. And again, right click, left click, left click, left click, left click, left, oh, backing up, that wasn't quite right. Left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, right click, enter. So now I have done that single run stitch embroidery over the top of that element. But here we go, back to the resequence over here, yeah? Pick up that element I just made and put it underneath that applique mark. So now we're not changing colours at all. You see? We've got all our colours in sequence, and it will stitch in sequence. And if you want to continue further, the next thing we got is the blue, right? So now I'll change my colour back to that blue. Now I got to pick something, and this is going to be a closed shape because I know it's a closed shape. Then I'm going to pick the blue, which is changed to blue. It's outline up here. It's single run over here. So this is what I'm going to do for my single run. Oh, big mistake. Not closed shape, open shape, because I've just noticed we don't need that stitching across the top there because it's going to be hidden by the yellow cap over the top. So it's open shape, not a closed shape. So I can start right there. I'm just going to come in bigger so I can see using my wheel on my mouse, and I'm just going to left click and follow that stitch line down to the corner, right click and follow the stitch line around. And this time, because remember this blue is over the top of the pink, yeah, you've got to remember your sequence. This blue is over the top of the pink. Right click on a corner, left clicking all the way up here. And I'm going to right click there to stop it and press enter. So that is my stitch line over the top now for the blue. Okay, as you can see it's an open line. This symbol means, oh look, it's not closed up, it's an open line, but I want it the right colour and to stitch underneath having laid down the blue dress. I want it to do that next, so I still got the same thread in the needle. The next thing is the yellow. Okay, so exactly again. Now this time it's a closed shape. This time's a closed shape. Pick up the yellow. See the yellow's changed down here in the left hand corner. So now I can bring that up nice and big again, and I can start, or I'll start here, and using left clicks to curve. Oh, that wasn't very good. Let's go back. Right click in the corner. Right click in the corner. Nope. Go back. Keep more on track. Right click in the corner. I missed it there. I just try and keep on track. And I'm just about to meet up, so enter to finish. So now I've got that line, which over here on resequence colour, I'm going to bring it up under that, so it will do the hat, then it'll do the top line. Yeah. The next thing we've got is the green. So yet again, bring up the green. This is a closed shape. This is closed shape. Change it to that green, which I think was that one. I hope it's that one. This size closed shape, change it to that. It won't do it. Why isn't it doing it? Open shape. That. Select. Well, just a minute. Right. I want to do closed shape and pick that colour. Right. Alright. This is one of the things, because it's such a big program. It's not responding correctly because I need to go and save it. So now I've saved it. Alright. So now I want to digitize closed shape and change the colour, and it flipping well won't. Nope, it's not going to let me. right, but I have press note to get it back in the middle. I have saved it. So what I will do, sometimes it's annoying, is close design. Open recent, Sue 1, that's what I'm working on. It'll reopen it. I'm showing you this because this is just part and parcel of how things go. I don't think that, oh my god, I can't do it. This is just one of those things where it goes a bit dodgy. Nothing in this world is ever entirely perfect, is it? Right, so here we are again, hopefully. Everything is exactly the same as where I just saved it to. So I'm going to digitize, and I want to digitize the closed shape. Isn't it strange? Now it's got the right colour up, so the program understood what I wanted, but I had to save it, come out of it, go back in it for it to behave. It's unreal, isn't it? So anyway, going back to now doing this top stitch, basically. Oh, let me actually, this is good, because I've just noticed, and I hope you can see here now, Deborah, where my original stitch was not actually 100% on the line. Now if that's the case, go and pick up your original stitch over here on the resequence bar, come up to reshape, and you see these little nodes. Well, I'm just going to move one along and bring it down. Look, brilliant. Changed it. Go back to select, don't need that now. I am on that. I want to go back to digitize, close shape, outline, single run, and then I am going to start here and do my left clicks. And hit enter to join it all up. Oop. Now yet again I went off. This is all good. So now I'll select what I just did, go to reshape. That's the start and that's the end. But oops. So what I want to do now is I want to move that circle about there and bring it back to there. You see, I just reshaped that, and then I will just put my start and finish back in the right place, and then go to select. So you can always adjust what you've just done by using the reshape tool. Yeah? The round nodules are curves, the square nodules are corner, like move in a completely different direction. Right, so that's that. So let's come out of that, and obviously I don't need to move that because it's directly under the dark green. So the only thing left for me to do now is this little girl's ribbony bits, little bow bits. So, okay, and what I will do, let's pick a colour. What should we say? Oh, what would she like on her hat? I think she'd like a nice baby pink, or bright pink. Bright pink. So I'm going to go open shape. I'm going to pick bright pink. See this change now to bright pink. But over here on my object properties, I want to more or less copy what she's got, so I'm going to go to motif. Now I just clicked on that, So as I was saying, I'm going to do a motif work for this line. Now over here I'm picking motif. I've got open shape over here and I'm picking a motif line over here. Now yours may vary because obviously I've added things like to this, but I thought I'd look at candle wicking. And you see, if I open that up, there's certain type of candle wicking you could use. The half knot, 3 to 5 millimeters. That looks good. Let's have a look. If I drop that down to something else, like well, you can see there's lots of things that are my things. M Gallery. Now that's a huge thing, and I can open that up, and you can see here I have got a plethora of bits and bobs that I could use as a motif line. So oh, that's nice, a star. Let's look at that for one moment. I'm going to click on that star. So now you see my motif line is this star. I don't think I'm going to stick with it, but let's see what that looks like. So I'll come over here now and I'll right click. Have I chosen a colour? Oh yeah, bright pink. Left click, left click, left click, left click. And I'm just, at the moment, following one path because I'll right click there and right click there and hit enter. You see? I just chose one pass because it's an open line, so you know I can come back and fill in other bits with single lines, but that was using that motif. Now I can select it. Now I've done it, I can select it and say I want that clean on that. So I'm going to go back to candle wicking, open that right up and say, well, I like the half knots. There. Now, is that what I want? I like it, but I can change it. Because in my way of thinking, they're too close together. Width, height, spacing. So I can say to spacing, I don't mind the width or the height, but in my mind, spacing, click on it so it knows what I'm talking about. I can alter the spacing. I am just altering the spacing. See what I'm doing? Was it 150 and like I had to click forever, I might change that to 2. Now, you see? That's quite nice, isn't it? I've just changed the spacing to 2. Now if we go in and look at it carefully and we take off the true view, there is a connecting line between each one, naturally. I'll put the true view back on, but I don't mind that. So I think that's quite nice using a half knot 3 to 5 millimeter candle wicking, but I've changed the spacing to suit me. And then using that criteria, I can go back to digitize open shape again. I'm not changing any perimeters. Oh, that has changed. Doesn't matter. That has shown. Let me show you something else. I've lost it. Naught. Bring it back. Now I wanna zoom in. I'm using my mouse wheel to zoom in and bring it back in focus. Right. Let's bring it down. So we've got, I haven't quite followed the line there, but that's not a problem. But I would say, right, so if I start here, and I'm using left clicks, I probably want to right click there, but left clicks, and enter to join it up. Don't matter that it's something else, that's for the minute. And I'm going to do exactly the same for this. It's a bit odd, isn't it? I don't think. My artistic value says I'd rather it be more of a bow than less of a bow. Right? And then from this line, I want to follow that path around, enter. Right, I know that's the wrong stitch, it doesn't matter, because we know that's right. So now, watch this. I'm going to click on that, and I am going to say, no, I'm going to click on this line that I like, right click and say, copy object properties, because I liked it. Then I am now going to use my shift key on my keyboard to select all the other bits I just did, right click on that and say apply object properties. Ready? Boom. So now it's all the same. You may have to rewind this and look at it a couple of times, but there we go. Now, and obviously, let's press 0, get it back in the middle. I'm going to save that, Sue1, yeah? Because, and obviously, so I'm looking, I always go back and look at my resequencing, because remember we did this green arm. All of a sudden, that arm went pink. So I'm just going to change that back to green. Don't know why, but it did. Because I want that and that to be green before we start on the bright pink. Yeah? So that's fine. And now I'll go and save it again. Because that was, it moved by itself, didn't it? Right? Okay. So that's my embroidery. You know, our embroidery is all these single run lines after the applique. And then we've got that embroidery for her little bowie piece that we've decided to do. So that is how I personally would embroider this figure, just as it is what you gave me. I mean, there's lots more I could do. I mean, I could put a little flower here and a little couple of, you know, triangles around you. And there's lots more you could do, but that's the basics. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for a moment.